So here we are in the early evening sun. It's about 7:30 in the evening in Seville. As you can see, the sun's still shining. Lovely day today as it happens, and I just felt sort of compelled to start talking because since I've been here, I've been obviously taking loads of photos. For those who know me, will probably expect that type of thing. Also writing down loads of notes of what I've been seeing, just sort of thoughts and ideas and things like that, and maybe I shall write it down afterwards. But where I am at the moment is because one of the things I like about this city, and it's a lovely city, really is. I always knew that I would like it here, but it's a stunning place, and for lots of different reasons. But one of them is it's so easy to walk around. There are little parks and little squares, plazas, just about everywhere, and greenery and everything, and it's a very walkable city. Most of the older part and most of the sites that most people are going to want to see are pretty accessible, and it's a very much a walking type of city. Okay, I've walked a lot, but I suppose, you know, that's the nature of it, because a lot of it is pedestrianised. There are cars and horse and carts, if you've got them around here, you know, carriages and things like that as well. But so much you can just walk around without traffic. They've got trams and that sort of stuff. It's a modern city as well, but it's obviously an old city. I mean, where I'm sitting right now, I don't actually, this is, not actually sure where this is. Literally to my left is the Alcazar, the sort of partly Islamic but partly not. Citadel, whatever you want to call it, I suppose, and it's very similar to the Alhambra in Granada for anyone who's been there. And on my right is literally just there is the cathedral and the Giralda tower, which I went up to today, which is quite old once again, and I think part of the cathedral was built on the site of an old mosque. But one of the things that struck me, one of the things I actually wrote down the other day, because I've been lucky enough to go to Barcelona, I've been lucky enough to go to Granada, and they've all got their own sort of special things about them. Granada's got the Sierra Nevada mountains right behind it. Barcelona's got a beach and the sea. Well, here in Seville, if you want to put it correctly, I suppose, you've got a river. And so that sort of takes the edge off the heat, because apparently it does get very warm. I mean, even today, as soon as the sun comes out, the temperature soars, literally. And I went on a riverboat cruise today. Always a nice way to see a city. But another great way of seeing a city is to just wander around and get lost effectively, which is what I've done several times, meaningfully, because there are just, once again, right behind me here, there's an area called the Barrio Santa Cruz, which is, Barrio is a bit of a nice place, a bit of an old slum quarter, I suppose, which is artisans and gypsies and God knows what else that have lived there in the past, and ne'er-do-wells, or whatever you want to call them, I suppose. Been cleaned up, I suppose, and gentrified to an extent, but lovely little area. And there's a couple of other areas like that around. There's one across the river called Triana, which I went to yesterday. But this one here, I've really taken to this one, and I did get lost in there last night. Luckily I found my way out, and I found a wonderful little bar there. As you do, you wander around and you find these places, and the first couple of nights, let's say you get ripped off, but you find the places that tend to cost a bit more. Maybe you don't go off the beaten trail as much as what maybe you should do, but even so, there are places right in the centre where it isn't expensive to have a beer. Other places are far more expensive. And there's a couple of little places up there. One of these places we literally got all these hams hanging around. I went up there and I wasn't going to, but I'm thinking about going back up there today to eat this evening. Because one thing I have done is slipped into that sort of old Spanish way of having a breakfast, but not eating lunch until at least 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and not eating anything in the evening until at least 8 o'clock in the evening. So we're getting towards that now. So a really nice city. I might well do another one of these, because I'm sure there's other things that I'm going to think about, but I'm very pleased that I've come here, and I think I may well come back. Actually, it's one of those things I'd quite happily come back to this place. Love just walking around and just sort of taking it all in. I keep getting drawn back to these sort of areas where all the people congregate, and as I said, you can just wander around at your leisure, and it's a very laid-back city. And one other thing that I've noticed, looking at the maps, when I first got here, I more or less caught a bus from the airport down to the bus station, which is right by the river, and I had a look and I thought it's not hard to get to back up to my hotel. Just follow this main road up to the hotel. Of course, I was looking for quite a thoroughfare, but there aren't really any. It's all quite narrow, not windy streets. They're quite straight, the streets a lot of the time, but they are far narrower, the width of a car, or probably just a horse and carriage, as you might be able to hear one in the background. And that's about it. So you're looking for something considerably bigger, and it's not. Apart from a few, as I said, there is a tram line which is just the Avenue was it Avenida de la Constitution, which is just literally just down there. One of the main roads, and there are a few others, but most of the rest of the roads pretty much pedestrianised. You can get one car down there, and you don't often get cars coming down them, so you can wander around, which is the beauty of any city, I think. And walking around, being able to walk on foot is so much easier than doing it in other ways. But people still go around in tour groups. I've noticed that. One thing I have noticed here, it doesn't seem to be quite so much a place for the lone traveller, or even for just a couple or something like that. It tends to be, there's loads of tour groups. It's obviously, because of the nature of the place and what's here, it is on the tourist circuit, and you get all these people wandering around, and the Japanese taking photographs of everything that moves, and most that doesn't as well, as long as it's got them in the photo, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Just this little insight into what I'm feeling about this sort of place and how I'm enjoying it, and I've got another day and a bit left, so I'm going to enjoy myself. Cheers.